Okay,
Again,
I know
anti-hero.
hands down a movie you have to watch if you're not American. Some of these Gen Zers, they tell me like they've never watched Top Gun. What the heck? No,
dude,
stop it.
We're gonna
stop it.
No,
stop.
no. I'm upset that they didn't see it.
I was gonna say.
I'm upset they didn't see it.
I was gonna say, like, are you literally throwing up on Top Gun?
About to
like,
throw it out right now.
We're done with this podcast.
That's
Like,
it. Welcome to another episode of Don Draper's Den. On this podcast, we discuss marketing and branding and how it touches so many aspects of our lives. I'm Chris, and this is Ernie. As industry insiders to this business, we're going to give our opinions, our insights into this fascinating world. So without further ado, pour yourself a glass. Let's jump in.
All right,
Cheers.
cheers.
What else do they say? Salute.
Salute.
That's what my dad would say. Is that what it is?
Yeah, salute.
Yeah, salute.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's kind of a country dude like that, you know, from the wee island of Sicily. What else is this? The Irish. I was just watching this thing where these guys, some YouTube channel, and there were like a bunch of Irishmen drinking like moonshine, just all these American like trying bourbon and all this stuff. But they spelled it on the screen, and it looked like cilantro, but I don't know what it was.
Cilantro. Well, wait, where were they from?
They were from Ireland.
Ireland?
Yeah.
Oh, cilantro.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. I don't know. Sorry if I mispronounce it.
But
it's like cilantro or something like that.
Yeah. And they were, of course, I think they were already a couple of deep when they were doing that anyways. But yeah, I don't know, man. I never had a taste for that, for moonshine.
Really?
Not my scene. It seems unpleasant. Why, you know what I mean? Why are you doing that?
Of course.
Just to say you did it?
Of course you have your own even drinks. Me, I like it all. You know, there's certain things.
It just seems unpleasant. Or it seems more medicinal. You know what I mean? Like if we've only got a flask yo big, let's not waste our time.
Yeah.
Right?
Like for me, one of the most recent things that I've been working on is my gin game.
Yeah.
Always hated gin. It's just very hard. But I'm like, I don't like hating something. Yeah. So I've been slowly trying more and more.
Right.
Hannah's been introducing new gin to me and different drinks. I'm like, okay, I could do this. So I'm liking it. You on the other end, you just say nope.
I'm good on that. I'm
saying like, of any drink though, you're like nope. See me, I'm like I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna like it.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes you don't know what you're going to get either. You know what I mean? When I did drink, it was more like, look, I got 2-3 shots of this. I know where I'm at with it. You know, I can function. I can play a gig. But if it's something I'm not used to, you know, especially as they say, like brown booze will, you know, get you fighting. You know, you drink the wrong stuff and all of a sudden you're into something crazy. So anyways, yeah, I like that. But I was kind of curious. What else is there? Russians. Oh, what do they say? There's Nostravia. No.
I don't know what they say.
Really?
No, I don't.
You strike me as a guy who would like, if there's going to be a moment for cheers, you're like.
Japanese says like, was it gambate or something like that? I forget what they say, yeah.
I feel like I've seen that in a movie. But then I kind of thought, because it was like an 80s movie with the guy who played Batman back in the day. What's homie's name? In the one with Jack Nicholson, Michael Keaton.
Oh, okay.
Right, and he plays like a union delegate, and then they're like swimming in the river in Detroit, and all this kind of thing because Japanese come and take over the
Wait,
card.
you're talking about Gung Ho?
Was that it?
Is it Gung Ho?
Right, and then there's this scene with Norm from Cheers, right?
Wait,
yeah,
that's where he's working, like in the car auto industry.
Yes, the audio industry. Yeah.
It's Gung Ho. That's one of the best. I love them.
Right?
My
favorite. Norm from Cheers. There's a great scene where they're like finally motivated. Right? They're like, we're gonna do this, and then Norm kind of leads the charge. He's like, mean business, and then the fabulous Thunderbirds. It's tough enough. That's like the kind of the backdrop to this scene where they, you know. But bro, honestly though, what kind of American propaganda did we absorb? You know what I mean? I think of like that.
It was a good propaganda.
It was great.
Movie.
It was one of my favorite movies. It was that.
What was
it
the
was
propaganda?
Rocky.
What was the good propaganda?
Well, in the day, right? It was this this kind of corporate takeover from like foreign automakers, right?
Yeah.
And so you got to get right with it, right? So the American middle class, Midwest is okay, fine. We're working with these folks now, right? And you got to sell them. And how do you do that? Well, let's make a movie. Let's make a little Michael Keaton. There's a nice moment, right? They're drinking sake or something. You know what I mean? They start integrating. All right.
Yeah, but
maybe
they
it's not that
show
bad.
that they couldn't live up to the standards of the Japanese automaker. And my best scene,
that's also
the best scene was at the end when the top guy was coming in to check on the work.
And he's in the car, right?
He's pretending like he's
the window, yeah.
He's pretending like he's washing the window. There is no window there.
Right.
There's no glass, but he's like,
Yep.
best scene. Yeah, it's gung ho.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that's oh man, dude. We always get into movies, but there's such an influence.
Yeah.
Like I was I think I was talking to my girlfriend about those movies, right? The 80s is just prime time because it seems like they had all the budgeting in the world. But I'm like, dude, Stallone, as much as I dig Stallone, I mean, he's one of the greats and everything, but also I'm like, did the CIA help fund some of those movies? Because when you look at like Rocky IV, he's fighting the Russian.
Right, Drago.
It's a little too on the nose. You know what I mean? It just like...
No, but it's
it felt
these
right
writers. These writers, it makes sense, because at the time you had the Cold War era, so it made sense that his arch enemy is gonna be Drago. I don't think there was any CIA involvement of trying to spread
Am I
this
too
message.
tinfoil hat?
You
Am I
are.
just going crazy with it? I'm that guy from
that guy,
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You know what I mean?
It's a conspiracy to you. Like,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Right?
if they're gonna pick an enemy from a different country, where else would they have chosen?
It's always the British. I get it. It's strong, a formidable enemy as well.
Or the Russians, yeah.
But then there's just little jabs in the movie because right, like he's shooting them up with the roids. He's impossibly big, and then of course Rocky's got to go old school, right?
Oh, yeah.
So he's like lifting up rocks and
lifting
shit.
up rocks. He's running in like knee deep snow.
Come on, man. And a designer jacket. You know what's funny?
He's hanging from the rafters of the barn doing crunches.
Crazy crunch, looking fantastic. Somehow, miraculously, by the way, right? Because it's Christmas. The fight takes place in Christmas, and he's tan. How'd you get tan, Rocky? You know what I mean? Never mind that. Why is your son, when you leave to go to Russia to fight, he's like, I don't know, in second grade, something like this, right?
Yeah.
And then he comes back in Rocky V. Like the timeline is, I just left the fight.
Yeah.
And then it's his real son, poor guy,
Who's he
rest in
fighting
peace.
Rocky V?
He fights Tommy Gunn.
Gun.
Hey, Tommy Gunn.
Right, Tommy Machine Gun. Well, he was like, that literally was like years after.
Years, bro.
Yeah,
But no. But in the movie, right, it's like he gets home and his kid that night. It's not after they lose the money.
Yeah.
Right? It's that night. Hey, good night, kid. And then there's a French teacher, right? He's, drawing his teacher. He's got the big rack. He's like, hey, I don't speak French too good, whatever he says, right? So that age, so that kid's got to be, what, 12, 13 years old?
Yeah.
What happened to the missing 6 years, man? Come on. Make it make
It
sense.
was that long. He was kind of like in retirement. He was like heading in retirement, dude. Listen, I have this whole take on movies.
Go ahead.
I feel like if you haven't, I don't care what generation you are, if you're an American.
Yeah. Damn.
If you,
All right,
if you
go.
haven't watched Rocky, you're not American.
Ooh.
Like, that is like part of
Yes.
citizenship. Like, I really feel like part of the citizenship test, or like you just growing up, like it's just mandatory. That Rocky movies is mandatory, or else you're a communist. Like it just,
Right.
it's literally the heart of America.
Damn,
Right?
man.
And there's several movies that fall in that category. I have a whole list. Rocky movies.
All right, sure.
Okay.
Rocky.
Definitely, you need to watch that.
Any specific Rockies? I feel like Rocky
Specifically
4.
Rocky 4.
Okay.
But if you really want to know the heart of the underdog spirit of American spirit, you got to watch them all, really.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the Patriot, Mel Gibson's Patriot movie.
Ironically, an Australian, but it doesn't matter. I'm here for it.
Yeah, you got to watch that movie because it's like, that's us. That captured, right?
Aim small, miss small.
That captured, right?
Yeah.
Or just the whole spirit of like, we will not be treated like this anymore, right?
Yeah, bro. Let's go.
Let's see, Independence Day. You remember
that speech?
Will Smith. Yeah,
that speech.
That speech. You have to listen to that speech.
Let's go. Yeah.
We will not give. What was it?
I forget, but it's killer.
It was the best.
What's his name? Pullman, right?
Yeah.
Bill Pullman. Glory. Dude,
Glory.
The campfire scene in Glory.
Yeah. Left, right. Little finger around the seams of his trousers. Marching's all I'll ever do. Good. Oh, come on, Matthew Broderick.
Yeah.
The Glory is definitely one. That was like one of the hit movies with Denzel Washington.
Right.
I remember watching him in 7th grade. They played that movie, and I was like, who is that actor?
Really?
He's going to be big.
Yeah.
And it was Denzel Washington.
Yeah. That was, God, Morgan Freeman, the line that I might get that tattooed on me, right? When Morgan Freeman's doing that campfire scene, he says, let our kinfolk know that we went down standing up. Bro, I'm ready. Give me, I don't even care if there's bullets in the gun. Give me a gun. We're taking something over. Let's go. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Glory, Rocky.
2 by 2.
That's right.
Yeah. And Lordy, if I should die on land or by sea.
Yeah. With rifle in one hand and a good book in the other.
A good book in one and the other. Oh, come on.
Let's go, dude.
You don't watch that, you're not American.
Right.
If you don't watch, what other movies? I would say Goonies.
Yeah.
You just gotta watch it.
We just went off because we were like American fighting, war.
But see, listen, that just shows like this exploration, this adventure piece.
Okay,
right?
All right.
You gotta
adventurous
get it.
Spirit.
Yeah, that's what I said. Booby traps. That's what I said. Come on.
God, there's a lot of Josh Brolin was in that.
Stand By Me.
That's right. Oh. My kids love that movie, dude. I was so happy to bring that to them.
Sandlot, that's pure American.
Forever.
Yeah. Come on, Smalls.
Yeah. And then Squints.
Yes.
When he kisses the broad. Couldn't do that now.
That's the best.
You couldn't do that now, dude. That's sexual assault, bro.
What others? What others is like you're not American if you don't watch these movies.
Man,
right?
I don't know. Yeah, all right. Here's a weird one. I don't know if this is, I don't know, but it feels right. How many, particularly dudes, but how many of us love either Goodfellas or Scarface? And the like, I wouldn't say the worship, but like the appreciation, the infatuation with the anti-hero, right?
Yeah.
And how pervasive, I don't know, because I'm an American, like I don't know what's going on in the world, but that seems pervasive in our culture.
Maybe?
Yes.
Okay,
again,
I know hands down a movie you have to watch or you're not American. Some of these Gen Zers, they tell me like they've never watched Top Gun. What the heck? No.
Dude.
Stop it.
We're gonna...
Stop it.
No. I'm upset that they didn't see it.
I was going to say.
I'm upset they didn't see it.
I was going to say, like, are you literally throwing up on... Top Gun,
like, throw it out right now.
We're done with this podcast.
That's it.
You cannot. I don't care what you think about Tom Cruise or whatever. I don't care.
Doesn't matter. I don't care.
Top Gun. You have to watch that.
Yeah.
That is the spirit of
so good.
The United States of America, right?
Yeah, dude.
Anyways,
you know what? And I like the fact the second Top Gun. Great. Maverick? I loved it. Awesome. Okay. But there wasn't an enemy, which I also was like, that was clever.
Yeah.
That was clever.
But, man, I've watched Maverick so many times because they did a great job just capturing the essence of the movie of Top Gun 1.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a completely different story, different plot.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
anyways.
I'm down for that.
I could go up forever on that. I have a whole running list I'm having my daughter watch just because I'm like, listen, like, if you don't watch these things, you're not American. I'm sorry.
You know what's funny is that it's not like out here in the Midwest, like I didn't realize how much the population of America is German, right? German descent. But like for those that don't know, like you're looking at, like I'm first generation immigrant, right? I was born in Colombia, right? So I'm totally with you.
Yeah,
like I feel that way myself, you know, like I'm an American. I don't know. I don't speak another language. I don't, you know, I haven't really been many other places, you know? So yeah, I totally feel that. Yeah. I don't know if that
now I do have another list.
Rocky,
I do have another list of like, you can't call yourself human if you haven't watched these.
Damn.
Movies. Yeah.
What's one of those?
Well,
movies,
like for example, Star Wars. Like at least the first 3 Star Wars.
You must have seen a Star Wars. Yeah,
you
exactly.
have to watch that. Like, or else you can't relate to a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, that's
so many cultural jokes.
Right.
Are just
what's another one? I would say Braveheart.
Yeah.
Like that's just like, come on, you gotta watch that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would probably put like the Lord of the Rings stuff in there, like that. That's just a big deal.
Yeah,
for our culture.
Yeah,
but then I would also say like Napoleon Dynamite. Come on,
you know what?
Although that might be more American on American list.
Yeah, so I've seen that in chunks. Right, I've never watched it full through. I've seen pieces of The Crow for a guy who's 43 years old, like graduated in '99 high school. Like that's kind of rare. When I tell people, like, you didn't see The Crow?
You didn't see The Crow?
I seen parts of it. But just, I was The Crow, bro. Lee? Yeah, dude. As if there's another Crow. Yeah.
That was the movie where
I was living that dream, bro. I was living that. I had the leather pants. I had the hair. I was that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, no, there's a couple of those movies where I'm like, just never, you know? But yeah, but like Star Wars, yeah. Yeah.
Have you watched a new Daredevil movie though? Daredevil Wolverine?
No. Wait.
I don't know. I might put some of the Daredevil movies in the you might not be a human if you didn't watch this.
Yeah.
They like raked in billions of dollars in the box office.
Deadpool.
Did I say Daredevil?
Yeah.
I did say that.
Because the other guy is blind.
No, not Daredevil. Deadpool Wolverine.
Yeah. Which in and of itself, there's stories behind that.
Yeah.
Because I know Ryan Reynolds from Waiting.
Wow.
Right. That's one of my favorite. Like if anybody's ever worked in a restaurant, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my God, is that so spot on? So I loved him in that.
Yeah.
But to see him, you know, just handsome little feller.
Yeah.
Go on to this
Deadpool
and then to
movies.
find out what else he's done and is doing, like proper mogul in business.
It's crazy.
What the hell, man?
Yeah. It's been really neat ride to kind of see him on because I remember he was doing a lot of those like kind of more romance, rom-com type stuff.
Yeah.
I remember one of my favorite movies that he did was with that Sandra Bullock. What was that? Was it The Proposal? Or
The Proposal,
like
yeah.
Proposal?
Yeah.
I love that movie. Sorry, but if I had to turn in my man card for that one, but I did. I love that movie.
Like rom-com.
But
every now and again myself.
But then for him to transition and take a leap into Deadpool and then all this marketing he's doing.
Well, all right.
Man.
So that's him here in now, right? In 2024. But really there's his failures as well. Right, Green Lantern didn't hit. Right, I thought it was I
actually liked it. I don't know.
Whatever.
But
it was entertaining.
I'm a geek when it comes to comics, so I don't care what it is, so long as they're wearing spandex.
Yeah, cool. I'm down.
Although that was one of the missteps. He wasn't even wearing spandex. It was just all CGI.
The whole
Green Lantern movie. So they got raked over the coals for that.
Yeah. But that was kind of not a flop. But anyways, it didn't hit right.
It was a flop. I mean, by and large.
What I never understand, and I'm no Hollywood insider, but I guess it's like when somebody's in the role and it works, it seems really obvious because it works.
Yeah.
But to call the shot and to be like the Hollywood type to, I guess do the casting or be the director or whatever, and like not see him as what he is now, it's almost like, well, how the hell didn't you see that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But maybe that's just my ignorance and like, well, could you pick somebody out of a lineup?
Yeah.
There's probably a 1,000 handsome, tall, leading man types, right? So how are you going to distinguish one dude's action and one dude's rom-com and whatever else?
I think it's a combination of things, though, if you think about it, because like, yeah, how could you not see that he played Deadpool?
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't even know who Deadpool was as a character.
That's also a fact. I
Right?
certainly was not. Like, I'm not a comic book guy, so I had no idea.
Now, I grew up collecting comics, so for me, like, yeah, you know Deadpool, and Deadpool was awesome. Deadpool is a great character, and if you like know anything about X-Men or X-Force or any of that stuff, X Factor, Deadpool is going to somehow weave itself into that storylines, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, yeah, awesome, Deadpool. But forget the character, the actor who's going to play Deadpool.
Right.
What executive is going to ever say, yeah, let's put millions of dollars into a character that, by and large, nobody knows?
No,
other than comic geeks, right?
And then
to say,
right.
okay, but then Ryan Reynolds, how's that fit?
Kind of
I don't
flopped
even
on
know the comic. I got to
Green
like read
Lantern.
it to get it.
Right.
You know, so like, yeah, I would say, yeah, it was a big leap for the executives to be able to, you know, I think at Fox or whatever, to agree to do that. That's why he had to leak it. Did you see stuff about
saw
that?
that. Yeah,
He'd leak some of the footage to see.
And then everybody goes crazy.
Right.
Which is kind of like, I want to say it's not crowd funded, obviously, but like using them as what, like their focus group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just this public, like, no, definitely do that.
Yeah,
you know,
and that was brilliant because let's say he didn't do that, or let's say he did it, but then nobody cared.
Right.
Well, maybe that would have supported Fox as well. Saying like, look, nobody even really cared what
nobody
we
cares
put
about
out
your
there.
stupid movie. But seeing that, all right, so we have, first of all, he starts to get typecast, right? And like, you know, first of all, listen, if you'd go ahead and try to typecast me as like the handsome hunky type, you know, rom-com, please, right? I need those problems, all right? But anyways, so typecast, and then he starts to try to expand it, right? Goes, there's like an action movie in there somewhere. I think he's a sniper, something like this, right? So he's, okay, we're trying to get out of that, got it. And then we got the Green Lantern, it didn't hit, right? Okay. And then now he comes up with this great idea. They don't give him the money, right? I think by way of comparison, those are hundreds of millions, 200 million or something like this for CGI and all these kinds of things. Then they're like, nah, you could do it, but like here's a couple
limited budget.
Here's a couple, right? So they 50, 60 million, right?
Yeah.
Comparatively small, but again, give me those problems. So here's a couple bills to try to make this happen. That's where it gets fascinating because now dude says, all right, we've got it. First of all, they've got a standard of movie making these days. You can't skimp or it's going to look crappy. Right. So interesting enough that when you have, I can't remember the name of the way the phrase goes, but it's something like in there where there's limitation, there is innovation, something like that. So we don't have much money. How are we going to get it out? Well, the crowd seemed to like that leak. Yeah. So let's go guerrilla marketing on this.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
brilliant.
Absolutely. Complete guerrilla marketing. I heard that what he did is because they're limited in time of like using, you know, camera operators and such, that in between takes, they would basically do some guerrilla marketing, use their phones, use whatever to record footage for reels to be able to get that out there on social media. And so they would, because they had a limited budget, they just were pulling out phones and doing fun little skits. And you know, Ryan Reynolds, he's hilarious. So
naturally hilarious. So capitalize on what you got.
And he's just building that story. And that's why I think it was a perfect role for him too. And he knew it because Deadpool has the same, the actual character has the same kind of humor as Ryan Reynolds. So it just was perfect. And that, along with the aggressive guerrilla style marketing tactics, doing video reels, etc., and then pushing that on social media, it just went viral. No low cost budget for marketing. Yeah. And I think he's redefined a lot of how to tell the story of the brand using social media, using low cost methods, right? That could go viral.
It makes me think of a couple things. One, on the music side, I think of like, well, that's how you do it, right? If you got a band and like you got no other choice, man, you know, you just do the best with what you got. Yeah. Right. And so there's a certain DIY vibe to that that I just get a kick out of, right? So it's like a big FU to corporate to be like, you know what? I don't want your production value. I don't want none of that crap. I'm doing this myself, totally punk rock. Cool, right? So I can dig that. 2, it allows them, they're like, what they're doing in that guerrilla marketing is totally on brand, right? Totally on brand. And they're even part in like a meta type of way, meaning like they break the fourth wall.
Oh, yeah.
They break the shit out of the fourth wall in the movie, right? So to have this strange, we're making a movie, we're making a movie. Yep. You're part of this.
Yeah.
It just blurs all the lines, right? And it just goes along with all of it, man. It's super smooth. Yeah. There is no brand dissonance in that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's fascinating how, for me to think of, how the what he's modeling for marketing right now is so good for people to see, for marketers to see, because it's so different than what we were doing 10 years, 20 years, heck, even 1960s. Can you imagine how they would react to this type of marketing? It would be
they'd be clutching their pearls,
right? Clutching their pearls. This doesn't make any sense, right? Completely inconceivable for them. But now, I mean, he's pushing that envelope. I mean, what's the name of his marketing agency?
So Maximum Effort.
Maximum Effort
is his.
But basically, like using he created this marketing agency that capitalizes on the stories, especially real time stories, and telling the stories of his brands, whether it be Deadpool. Right. Aviation Gin, I tried it. It's good. Yeah. To Mint Mobile. I'm trying to think about Wrexham.
That's right.
Man,
Wrexham.
Just even the Wrexham
the soccer
story
thing.
at all. Have you watched any of the Wrexham series on FX? Or?
Yeah, I was. First, I know nothing about soccer. Right. So for me to like look at what evidently was kind of an obscure club, but they had the history though. Yeah. Right. And how deep in a community soccer would be across, over the sea, right? It's like I know enough to say, this is really important to these guys, like what they do, Well,
it's like Wrexham was like one of the older soccer franchises in history. Like their stadium was like one of the oldest stadiums, right? Way back when, right? So it's steeped in history and lore and etc., right? And so I think when he was confronted with that opportunity, I imagine based off how he's handled all his other marketing, he saw the storyline potential. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that underdog storyline potential, where then if he created that documentary, right, to be able to then capitalize on that momentum and the storyline of underdogs, etc. And man, he's done such a great job. He and his partner, what's his Rob McElhenney. Yeah. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah. Yeah. And I think Rob was the one who actually pitched it to him. But then once he saw the storyline potential, like, let's do this. Let's create a documentary. And now they have all these sponsors. Now they're, blowing up. Yeah. I'm a Wrexham fan, and I don't even know much about it. Just because it's the story. Like, this is incredible. And he does such a great job telling the story. And I love that, because whether we're talking about back in the 60s till now, story and people has always been that common denominator, right? Now, granted, maybe they didn't use that kind of jargon. Hey, it's about the story. But even back then, they had to think about the end user, the target audience. What are they experiencing when they're smoking this cigarette or having this drink, or what is that? And let's create an ad accordingly, right? Similar thing, but a little bit more intense, a lot more intense with Ryan, where what's the story behind this? And let's key in on that story and use those digital tactics or guerrilla tactics to be able to get that message out. Yeah. And man, he's done such a phenomenal job.
There's an adjacent or maybe a subtext to that, right? Mm-hmm. Some of the philosophy behind that's what interests me personally, right? So very stoic insofar as there's an obstacle, right? and it becomes the way, as his family famously said. So using what at the time might have been either seen as a weakness in perhaps him as an actor, like just because of his rep, not because of his skill per se. So using his quirkiness, his humor, and all that stuff that he just naturally is gifted with. Mm-hmm. So he's relying on his strength, but others see it as a weakness, right? He's kind of jujitsuing this moment into his benefit, right? So nothing more stoic than that. It's like, present me a problem. I'm going to turn it into a solution. It's going to be part of the solution, and I'll rise above that. Right.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm blown away when in the hardest of circumstances, and it's only Hollywood. I realize it's only a movie, but for those people out there, maybe business owners, and I mean, it's not really a small business. I want to say for you small business owners, take a note, right? But also not really though. I mean, like CEOs, right? Those of us who watch, I don't know, man, the Patrick Bet-Davids of the world, and the Cordone, right? And so on, right? The Tony Robbins, like, yeah, but they overcome challenges too.
Overcoming challenges. Yeah, I see. Yeah, it's exciting because when you think of the movie and the limited budget he had,
right,
and yet he used that obstacle to tell the story and actually just kill in the box office.
Yeah.
Despite he had a limited budget, right? That's what you're getting. Yeah. I agree. That is fascinating. I mean, you think of Steve Jobs, right? How many times did he get fired from CEOs? Apple,
Right.
But what did he do? He started Pixar or something, or he was a part of Pixar,
right,
and getting that launched. And then he comes back and he introduces a whole new line of computers.
Goes down a legend,
right? Utilizing those catastrophic moments, personal moments, into victories.
So one of the guys, I can't remember his name. They all got weird Greek names, but the guy who's credited with the start of Stoicism, of which there's like a bunch of different philosophies from that day, some of which we know. But anyways, this guy has a boat, right? He's like fisherman or whatever, and he somehow, or storm or whatever, he loses his boat, loses basically everything he has, right? Gets to shore, in spite of it all, ends up finding success, right? And he basically, that's it. The obstacle becomes the way.
Yeah.
Right. And what I find interesting about these philosophical ideas, a lot of times it's academic, and it kind of doesn't, it's like, philosophy is nice, man, but you still got to get up to work every day, stuff like that. Right. No, man, these are philosophical ideas you can take to the hilt.
Yeah.
And when guys like Ryan Reynolds demonstrate that, it's inspirational.
Yeah, it is inspirational. And I think too, he has a particular brand that makes it inspirational too. Yeah, like he has a very much of an everyman archetype, personal brand archetype, where it seems like every man can kind of relate to him. He's funny, he's hilarious. People strive to be like him in terms of his humor, in terms of his outlook in life. Right. It seems like he's always positive, right? And so then when you take that and say, this everyman has overcome these challenges, I want to do that. I can relate with that.
Yeah.
I got my own challenges, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And that's that point of, I could say, hey, small business owners, check this out. Right. Follow a guy who's really doing big things. Right. But all of us face them. You don't even have to be in business per se. You could be 9 to 5, but man, you've got other things you need to overcome.
Yeah.
Right. And what an unlikely person to look at and say, this Hollywood guy was really up against it. Like, way to make the most of it, man. Yep. I wonder what I can look at in my own life and kind of, squeeze all the juice out of it that's available.
Yep. Think about like the PR professionals that are listening. The PR professionals often, they're managing, they have to manage message through, any negative storylines that might hit their brand, right? And so they got to talk about the jiu-jitsu. They got to take that negative energy and turn it into a positive. they got to take those challenges and turn it into a positive for the brand.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big part of public relations, and is spinning that story so that the brand is seen under favorable light, right? Mm-hmm. And how are they able to relate to that kind of story that we're talking about with Ryan Reynolds? Just how do we turn this negative into a positive? Or it reminds me of another thing that Ryan Reynolds did. Did you hear about that one story where the Peloton girl? So Peloton put this ad where this girl, the wife, what have you, or girlfriend, she's working out, she's trying to like lose weight or hit her goals, and it comes across seemingly that she's doing this for her husband, and yet she's like in great looking shape,
right?
So that Peloton got hit hard off of that campaign, because it's like, come on, she looks great, and she's like trying to hit her goals for her boyfriend.
Right.
Is that boyfriend like just a jerk?
Right.
Doesn't like her for how she is. Look at her. I mean, it wasn't like she was like a normal looking girl. She was an attractive,
exceptionally fit.
Girl. Right. And so that campaign, the moment it started going out, it just got obliterated in the press. But then you know what? What Ryan Reynolds did? Once he saw that, he and his agency found the girl's number, called her, the actress, and said, "Hey, would you want to act for our aviation gin commercial?" And so literally like the next day, they like shot it, or like next day or a couple days or something. They shot it with her at the bar drinking aviation gin because she was depressed or drunk after her her
the
husband
debacle.
or boyfriend like left her, even though she something like that. I forget the exact story, but
That's
they made
amazing.
this whole story like, I tried working out so hard, and he goes and leaves me, whatever. Man, give me that aviation gin.
Boom.
Capitalized, right? Took this amazing, like terrible PR story on Peloton, and he used that momentum to catapult more of the storyline behind aviation gin. That's brilliant.
Awesome. That
right?
Is brilliant.
So it's just that whole idea. How do you utilize these challenges that we face every day as marketers or as business owners? And how do we turn that around, that energy around, to shed some good messaging of our brand?
Right.
It's phenomenal, fascinating study.
I like the fact, too, I'll get back to the punk rock theme of it all. I like the fact that when there's kind of an underdog in a business, right? And so basically it's like, well, as far as I know, Ryan Reynolds doesn't have a doctorate in marketing or anything, right? So then I like the idea that just some knucklehead, handsome rom-com fool, in the eyes of the industry, like he has the drop.
Yeah.
Right. He's got the leg up when it comes to marketing or whatever he's doing. And then there's like a slew of, I picture like stodgy, kind of stuck up pros, and they got their PowerPoints ready to go. Yep. But here's Ryan Reynolds like, no, that's stupid. Give me your phone. You know what I mean? You just knock one out.
All right.
You're like, that's all you had to do. Shit.
Or I saw an example of this. Mint Mobile, they had these commercials running on social media, and so I'm scrolling through my Facebook timeline, and I see this Mint Mobile commercial upside down. And essentially, what he said is, "So they told me we don't have a budget to make a new commercial, so we decided to turn this old commercial upside down."
That's so stupid.
Like what?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And like that was it. It was the same commercial.
Right.
It was upside down.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Let's try it.
Who does that?
Right.
But it's genius.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like in it's like, okay, we don't have a budget. We don't have money for a new well, what can we do? And I don't know if that's really the case. Maybe it could be that they had money, but he just thought this would be funny.
Yeah.
Either way, the messaging is still hilarious. It captured my memory, I'm sure millions of others. And okay, who's at the center of that bit is Mint Mobile, and people remember that brand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, classic commercial. So
amazing.
Here's an idea too, right? In the swing of like art in general, right? Music, fine art, and a lot of other things, right? Business probably too, but I know about the art. You have a particular movement, right? Swings hard out right? And you get say bands like Journey and Boston and Kansas and all that stuff from like the late 70s, right? Pink Floyd and arena rock, right? And it becomes like big, man. You know, everybody's got a private jet. It's bloated, right? So by the late 70s, right, Elvis is dead, and 1977 punk rock is born, right? Elvis dies and punk rock is born. And punk rock, like we're saying, is like totally the opposite. Like, to hell with that. We don't want any of that.
Yeah.
Right. I don't have a silver spoon in my mouth. I'm just a punk kid with Liberty spikes in like the worst part of London, working at a porn shop. I'm going to start a band called the Sex Pistols. Right. In spite of what I see.
Yeah.
But then they get kind of, I would say, co-opted. Right. And it swings the other way.
Yeah.
Now it's the mid 80s and everybody looks like Billy Idol. Right? Nothing against Billy Idol. I love the tunes, but he was in a punk rock band called Generation X, right? But then by the time he gets to real popularity, dude, he's as commercial as it gets, right? And so there's this pendulum swing. Okay, there's the example. In marketing, I'm curious to see if this is the punk rock, right? If this moment in time is the Sex Pistols, the Ramones, right? And Ryan Reynolds is kind of punk rock about it. Then what I would be curious to see is those that are, say, more on the, I would say the pro side of it, but like, I don't know, the more traditional, you know, they're at the corporate marketing situation. Like, do they see that? And either A, they go flavor of the month and they just suck it all at, you know, they just go totally guerrilla themselves and just, you know, bastardize it, right? Just like we did to Billy Idol, right? Or some of them are going to create, it's like, that looks cool and that guerrilla style is cool, but by the way, we got some dope ideas, so check this out, right? And they do their arena rock version of it, but it blows your mind. You know what I mean? And I wonder, because I bet that's cooking. You know, those of us in the business, there's going to be somebody where there's innovations, so we're like, I can't even believe that exists. And it's going to be more on the corporate side, the technology, where there's like remember in Back to the Future, right, where there's that shark hologram that's like Jaws 85 or something. But yeah, it's a shark and it like jumps after him. You know, that like these kinds of things await us, right? But it's cool that there's like this moment where it's like pretty punk rock and guerrilla, you know?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that both's happening.
Yeah.
I think that they're trying to figure out. See, a lot of the corporations, the challenge is they're not as nimble to be able to do something like
right.
And there's a lot more red tape and there's a lot more protocols they got to fulfill, so they can't really do that type organic swing. Type of. But can they do great? You know, still pull together great content. I think of like Red Bull.
Yeah,
Red Bull does a lot of viral type content, and they're, at least at this point in their phase of their business, they're a larger company, right? Yeah. And they're always coming up with ingenious ideas of guys jumping off of a building, you know, free falling from space or what have you, right? So that's where they're doing great stuff, and it fits their brand. But then I'm sure there's other companies, large and small, that are trying to figure out how do we bottle up what Ryan Reynolds has done and systematize it, and therefore we bastardize it, and it's not really doesn't come across
distill that,
because at the end of the day they don't want to do the kind of legwork that it takes to be like a Ryan Reynolds. And not to mention that all his stuff is Ryan Reynolds. Like, he has his personal brand, and he's a funny guy, very hugely sarcastic, etc. You know, etc. So you never really see Mint Mobile commercials do well, like without his face on it. Right. And so he is a special, one of a kind type person that will only come once in a lifetime. Yeah. So corporations are probably doing a little bit of both, is what I'm saying. Yeah, I agree. They're probably bastardizing it, trying to do that, but they're not. And then there's others that are like, it's part of their brand, and they have mega dollars to pull off some really good viral, organic like campaigns. And I can think of Red Bull, for example, that does that really well.
I can see that. Like having like a particular style. Like a Picasso, right? It's like only Picasso did it that way, right? But then to connote a I don't. I mean, Picasso's abstract art at this point is representative of so much more, right? It's a time in history. Never mind the art scene, but then culturally, politically, if you know what I mean. So it's like a sign or something, that a flag that was planted in a particular time, and you can extract by visual only, like put the Picasso there, and it references so much more. All right, so then it's like, if you use that, you're like the painter and using a little Picasso to help you get a message across. Well, marketing, same thing. And I can picture, okay, so one day people are going to use whether it's Ryan Reynolds himself or however they reference it, right? But they're going to go Deadpool on it. Yeah. And well, what do you mean? Meaning we're going to go totally low budget, right? We're going to go totally guerrilla, right? And so on and so on. And I'm like, oh, okay, we'll Deadpool it. Well, Ryan Reynolds it. You know what I mean?
They create
and it'll become, rather than the moment in time where it was so big, it'll, deflate and be whatever size, but it'll be another bullet in the chamber of marketing at large.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe that's the way that goes.
Yeah.
Right? It becomes yet another tool.
I think, and it has really. I mean, people have been talking about organic type of messaging, organic advertising, organic reels. And I think that's a big part of what Ryan Reynolds has done. He's just has accomplished so much and was so successful in that style, that method of storytelling. Yeah. Very quick, real time. Don't put a whole lot of thought into it in terms of like having to go through a lot of protocols. Right. Just take that video,
focus groups and stuff,
send it out there, you know. And as a result, you could do more quantity. Like if you look at the advertising that he's done and the PR he and Hugh Jackman have done for the movie, I mean, they're everywhere. They're crisscrossing the globe. They're doing interviews. They're doing, these Comic-Cons. They have all these funny reels or skits or songs or what have you that is getting millions of people just intrigued by it, right? Yeah. But I'm sure it's exhausting. Because there's never a time there where Ryan Reynolds is not in this stuff. He's in every single thing. You're kind of
wearing the tread off the tires, right? Yeah. There's maybe a high cost.
Yeah, I saw a video. That's true. I think, I don't know if Jimmy Fallon, he was asking Ryan Reynolds, so is there going to be a Deadpool 4? He's like, oh, hell no.
Right. It's too much.
No, it's just like my wife and kids will kill me.
Right.
Because it's not just a movie. And everything leading up to creating the script and the storyboards and the meeting with the executive.
And acting in the movie.
But then acting in the movie and then editing the movie. But then it's also all the promotions and all the organic reels that he's putting together, the songs. Man, that guy has to be working 24/7.
Yeah.
But he makes it look so easy.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's why I think when you were talking about, compete corporations, are they trying to emulate? I don't know if they're nimble enough.
Right. Can they do that? They would need a guy.
Like basically, all right, you're the guy. You do it. No questions asked. You just go do it.
Right.
Because we're just going to live with the repercussions of whatever you do. Right.
Right.
No.
Big
do
risk.
you think P&G? You think these, Chiquita or
GE or something? They're not going to be okay with that.
No. It's like we need to have a little bit more hands-on. Which then what? Yeah. Compliances and like I think compliance is the death of marketing and advertising.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's a fact.
It takes all creativity away. It takes all the joy in the beginning of putting together this ad. You're excited about it. Then it goes through lots of reiterations because of compliance. And then by the time you're like, I don't even care about this. Just set it out, right?
Bro, in my old job, come on, man. Just you spend, it's like an origami bird, right? Right. And you're like, I just got it right. This is perfect. What do you guys think? And then they take out one of them old Gallagher hammers and just smash it. Right. This is better. You're like, it's just a flat piece of paper. What the hell, man? Yeah. This is stupid.
Exactly. You're like, okay, fine, just send it out.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't get any any response.
Your promotions don't work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I wonder why.
You smashed it with a hammer, dude.
You just obliterated
Thanks.
it. Yep.
Man. Yeah.
Oh man, this is good.
That was a good one. That's a good one. Who knew? I don't want to give, because he's got $1 million in the bank, and he's a handsome fella, and he's smart, and everybody seems to like him, and good for him, and he's got a family and all that. But I also, some part of me is like, I don't want to give that guy any more shine, but he deserves it.
He deserves it though.
So
he's really helping to.
Here's to you, buddy.
He's helping to push the boundaries in marketing. He's teaching us a lot.
Yeah.
What can be done, right?
Yeah.
It just takes a little bit of guts, a whole lot of heart, and anchor all that down into a good storyline.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Please remember to like, to share, subscribe, comment. I want to try to blow this thing up, so I appreciate the help there. Now, from the iconic era of advertising to the digital age, I'm Chris.
And I'm Artie.
Keep it legendary.